Hello and welcome back. Today we're working on a project for a friend. It's a commission project, but I do have permission to post it and the work in progress. So I finally finished the previous project I was working on, and it is time to do this one. And then after this, we move on to manga stuff. So this project is basically in my own style. We are creating a dragon from the novel series Fourth Wing, which I've never heard of. But looking into it, the dragon's name is Tairn, Tairn, and I had to get a description of what this dragon looks like, because, like I said, I've never even heard of this book series, which is fine. There are a lot of book series out there that I've never heard of, but this one I understand is pretty good. So this dragon is, I guess, a black dragon, but I've been told it's a beast of a dragon. Like, it's a big dragon, more than just like a drake, what you would consider like a drake or a wyvern. This is like a siege weapon of a monster. So we're going to try and do some quick sketches to see if I can make something like that work in my style. Now, I do feel like I'm okay drawing dragons. Like, I've drawn dragons my whole life. If there's anything I've drawn more than Dragon Ball Z, it would be actual dragons. So let's see, or dinosaurs, but it's kind of the same thing. Dragons are just kind of dinosaurs with wings. But let's see what we can get going. Now, what I wanted to try to do is really focus on giving this guy, I understand it's a guy. If it's a girl, I apologize, or if it's something in between. But I understand it's a guy. It's a guy dragon. Is giving this thing a very strong jaw and very intimidating presence. I don't know if I can pull that off, but we will see. I will try. So, let's see. I'm not going to draw the whole dragon. What I think I want to do is really lay into the head and the upper body here. Not that I don't like drawing the whole dragon. I just think that the picture that my friend sent me was a headshot. And so I don't want to go too crazy with like what they're looking for. So I'm going to try and stick to maybe a bust at the most, like the head and neck up to the shoulders or so. Or just the head, or, whatever feels right, I guess. We'll see. So, this is the tricky part with dragons. Is you gotta figure out what your dragon is supposed to represent, and find good shapes that will represent that. So for this dragon, we're gonna have real hard angles. And we're going to have kind of almost jagged, but strong, like a strong jaw. And I also understand that this is kind of a war monster. So he's like a veteran of a war or something like that. You forgive my ignorance to the book series, but I guess he's been in many wars, and so he's kind of a veteran of the wars. So he's gonna look old, and he's gonna have scars, and he's just gonna look like he's just over everybody's garbage at this point. And we want to sort of draw him in a regal style, because old dragons tend to be wiser. And even if they are like a sort of a black dragon, which are often considered almost villainous, we want to make sure that he still presents as wise. Because if you think of other black dragons in media, For instance, World of Warcraft had a lot of black dragons, and even though they were mostly evil, they still looked regal. The Onyxia was part of the royal court for a long time in Stormwind, and her father, Deathwing, or Neltharion, before he was Deathwing, was an ancient and wise creature before he kind of went crazy. So we want to try to make sure, whatever we do, our dragon looks not like a maniac or a psychopath or something. We want to make sure that he looks intimidating but wise. Give him a nice strong brow. Of course I said we were going to give him strong angles, and then I give him like a nice S curve here. Whoops, we'll correct that later. Inking phase or something. Alright. Now the eye is... He's not going to look like a monster, but he is going to look like he's tired of dealing with things. If you're not here with good news, he doesn't want to hear it from you. Again, I don't really know the book series, so if that's not his personality, then I'm way off, and I apologize. I just, based on the characterization and the description I was given of this guy, that's kind of where I'm going. Like he wouldn't have decorative horns. He wouldn't have decorative fangs. What he would have would be very functional, especially if he's a veteran of a war, like he's survived the war countless times and is even considered like the premier warrior in the war, or soldier, or whatever. This basic siege weapon is, that's how they described it to me, was a siege weapon, like a big siege weapon of a monster. Then his paraphernalia, we'll say, is going to be very functional. So like he wouldn't have like the horn right here, like that doesn't really do much, like a rhino horn. He wouldn't. What he would have is a big strong jaw for biting. So we really focus on making that jaw super strong. What he would also have are very functional back horns, almost like a deer or an elk. We're not gonna make like antlers, but those horns, or kind of think of it more like a bighorn sheep or a ram. We won't make the curvy horns, but the horns are functional. They're for fighting. You know, they're not decoration. They're not decorative. So what they would be, or almost like an ox, I guess, or a water buffalo of some kind, or a buffalo. Well, like, not like a bison, but like an actual buffalo, where the horns are used to just smash and grab and whatever, stab things. But they're strong, real strong. You know, something like that, I guess. It wouldn't be hooked like that, I think. I'll get my bigger eraser out. I don't think it would be hooked up like that. Like, they wouldn't curve upward. I think what they would maybe be is it would be like just kind of like this here, kind of like a water buffalo, kind of, where they're there, and if he wants to duck his head and ram you, these things are gonna hurt. Well, let's see. That's a little too much of an angle there, I think. like I said, he wouldn't really have decorative frills or anything. Like if we were to, kind of like frill it out like this, maybe. I guess. You shouldn't be without it. If you were to try to consider even how dragon biology might work, you could say that even though he's a warrior dragon, he would have some sort of display to attract partner, even if he didn't use it. Biology of most creatures, especially creatures that are more primal than humans or whatever, they have those. They have a lot of kind of, I don't know how to describe it. It's just like their features on their body that they would use to attract a partner or a mate. It's the entire purpose of biology is the fitness of the species. So let's give him some hard angles. Maybe a little bit stronger of a jaw there. Get rid of that circle. Down here, we'll get rid of some of these. You can see what's going on a little bit better. Okay, nice strong jaw. Good. Maybe a little bit smaller on the eye. Again, we're not trying to make him look like a monster. We're trying to make him look like an ancient creature that is allowing you to breathe the same oxygen he is consuming currently. So again, with the maybe the mating features and stuff like that, we could maybe give him a little frill here. Like this. I don't want to go too crazy with like ornamental stuff that's not functional in war. But what we can do is we can even like give him like little cuts like this, just to make it look like he's damaged, like he's a victim of a war, right? Well, he's a participant in many wars, as I understand it. So he's not going to be clean. He's going to have scars. He's going to have stuff that's messed up on him. You know what I mean? I'll probably give him one more little cut up here. Seeing like maybe he got worked over by something on his back at one point. Instead of up, let's angle these frills down. Angling them down helps. Oops. Ground it in that they're not necessarily only for mating. You can use them for fighting if he needs to. This looks like the kind of dragon who uses every piece of his body to fight with. I wonder if maybe the eye's just still too big. Let's see. One of the things they do in comics and manga is bigger the eyes, the younger the thing looks. So we'll make the eyes a little, his eye in particular, a little bit smaller. Here we go. All right. Now he does have wings, and they're big and powerful. We're not going to have, obviously, enough room for the whole wing unless I shrink this guy, and I don't want to do that. So what we'll do is we'll bring him here. Let's get him forward a little bit. And then we're going to sort of imply that he's got them here. By bringing this wing up here. want to make it like a shoulder hinge. That's what these are. These wings. I know I've talked about this in a previous video, but these wings are basically just additional arms. In nature, and I'm a biologist. If I talk too much about nature, that's why. I'm not a great biologist. I just got my bachelor's in that. But what these are is they're basically just an arm. And typically in creatures that can fly, like if you think of a bat, maybe, even a bird, but most, like, bat's the easiest example. It's got the shoulder hinge, and then it comes out, and this is basically just a giant hand. So you've got one finger here, this is another finger, this is another finger, here's another finger here, and it's just like a giant hand. So if we erase that, it's like if we were to draw, oops, erased too much. If we were to draw like a hand, like a normal hand here, it would be like drawing wings or webbing in between each of these fingers that allows the creature to fly. So it'll be like this here. If anybody used to watch Gargoyles way back in the day, but they had really good designs that were like seriously implied that the wings are just giant hands. Anyway, long tangent. Okay, so for him, what we need to do is make this like a shoulder hinge here. And then this goes into the giant hand, because it is attached at the shoulder like a extra Machamp arm, and then it just comes out and up. Alright. And then I don't do many commissions. I never really have. I used to, long time ago, I used to draw dinosaurs for kids in elementary school. They'd ask and be like, hey, can you draw me a Stegosaurus? And I would, but that's all the experience I've ever had with a commission, really. So I don't know. We're just kind of winging it here. They just asked me to make a picture for them. Well, that's what I'm doing. Making a picture with a lot of really sharp angles. Because he's not a villain, but he is to be taken serious. So we've got his center line is here, like this. And this is like his breast, like right here. We would want the breastplate armor, like this chest armor. It's basically a breastplate to come over and protect his chest. A lot of media, dragons' specific weakness is their heart. I mean, you stab anything in the heart and it's going to die, right? But in particular, dragons. Otherwise, they're nigh unkillable. So they have to protect that one thing that can get them killed. They keep the plate armor over their heart. I don't know, have you guys seen Dragonheart, the old movie with Kevin Costner and Sean Connery as the dragon? Really good movie. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. Alright, let's see. Oops. Now we need to make his actual shoulder here, because he does have his leg here somewhere in this direction, generally speaking. Okay. There's a leg. I guess that's good enough. And that's not too bad, I guess, for a quick little sketch. Now we can draw the other wing, I suppose. I'm not in the the book series is called, or maybe the book, one of the books is called Fourth Wing. I'm not sure if that's maybe, I'm not sure what that refers to. So if you do know what that is, obviously I don't. Please explain it to me. But if I had to guess, I'd say it's a sort of battalion, maybe, of dragons. Like they've got the first wing and the second wing, and the fourth wing is like the veteran battalion or something, the 501st or whatever from Star Wars. Okay. So his other wing, most likely, we would say is over here. Do we just go like this and just like arc it down? Let's say this is like the upper talon or like the fingernail or whatever right here. So if we say that's the same thing that's going on over here, then what we do is we would arc that down, and then this would be that talon that's coming up here. Also something he would be able to use as a weapon. So we would have to make it actually look dangerous. Alright. If you think of old Smaug from The Hobbit, he has a whole little speech he does about all of the dangerous things he has. His teeth are spears, and his wings, hurricanes. One of the better speeches dragons give, for sure. Okay, and then so this whole area, like right in here, is just going to be a wing. Can bring it back maybe like this. And then this is just the arm connector piece that comes down here into that shoulder hinge. And we don't want to give him holes in his wings like this or something. Because in dragon anatomy, if you were to cut the wing like that, they couldn't fly well. We don't give them too many issues. We give them like scars and stuff. It looks like a surgical scar. Maybe not like that, but definitely like this guy has been in a fight. Give him a little scar over his eye. I don't know if he has a scar over his eye. Does he? I don't recall getting a specific description of whether or not he has a scar over his eye. If I had to guess, I would say he does. A veteran like that's definitely been hit in the eye by another war veteran, for sure. I don't know if we have the teeth hanging out like that. We don't want them facing forward, though. We want them facing backwards. Predator teeth almost always curve back like this, so that when they tear the flesh, it actually tears it off and towards them, and not, sometimes people draw their fangs like that. That doesn't make sense. Maybe it does, and I just don't know. Like I said, I'm not a great biologist. It's a long time ago. Or maybe we should just like draw like this big fang up front and then leave the rest of these out. We'll see. And then just let the crest of the mouth do a lot of the work. We can have maybe one or two back here. No. I think the one fang is maybe better. trying to see. Yeah, I like the one fang better. Like this one fang here. Maybe that's not even like. That's not even like the biggest fang he has. It just happens to be a fang that pokes out over the top, like an orc tusk or something. Just like a big fang. That's too big. Make it something like that. We just want him to look intimidating, I guess. I wonder instead if we just gave him a bunch of smaller teeth like that. No. Ugh. Liked it before. Like that, maybe. Straight up and down. I don't want a nice looking triangle. There we go. Yeah, sure. Does that look powerful enough? Ancient enough? I don't know. That is the problem. Can give him more scars, maybe? Maybe that'll help. How we would even really... I'm trying to imagine where other dragons would have definitely taken chunks out, like scuffs here. Like he's definitely seen some battles. He's got like maybe somebody raked him with his claws right there on the little wing. Like they came up and they grabbed him like around his wing shoulders and just like raked their claws down or something. We don't want to give him too many scars. Like I don't want to make him look like he gets his ass kicked all the time. There we go. Yeah, sure. Okay, so this is going to be a different color down here than up here. And he's a black dragon, right? So, let me see. I wonder, too, if maybe we shouldn't make more horns. More functional horns. So, like, we've already kind of, like, here, or something. I don't want to make them look decorative. They have to look like they're actually functional. So let's clear this up here. A lot of gunk going on right now. So, and it's got to look like it's actually attached to this part of the jaw. Right, so we would get rid of this bit here. I also don't want them to look like whiskers. They kind of look like whiskers right now. Yeah. Get rid of those. Okay. If we do, we'll maybe make it like a spike instead. There's like a spike there, and like a spike there. And then we can even make like a spike here, like you can chin somebody. Chin somebody there, and you can, I don't know, upper jaw somebody there. Yeah, maybe. Give him another spike like right here or something. Again, all functional. You can absolutely murder somebody with these little chin spikes. Now, for his scales, I was told that they are charcoal black. And obviously, we don't want to draw all the scales because that's annoying. Some people do that, and kudos to them for having the patience to do that. But we can draw some scales and imply the rest. Or what we can do is make them more plate. Just bigger scales. Like just a big plate scale right here. Another plate scale. Like, you don't make it through the war unless you got tough scales. Or multiple wars, rather. Unless you got tough scales. And this guy he's got the scales. And we can just imply more littler scales maybe down there. But the big plate scales, those protect his neck. And his heart, which is obviously the most vital organ. I think that's good. I think that's probably good. Let's see, how long have we been going? 30 minutes. All right, I think that should give us enough time to try and ink this up. Maybe. We'll see. Maybe not the color and everything, but we can get it inked up and everything. All right, let's see. Go get my cursor back. I had to switch back to OBS to see how long I've been recording for. Alright, so let's switch over to the G pen and black for ink. And then okay. Let's go ahead and drop that down. And there we go. I'm going to rename some of these so I don't lose track of them. Because I will, inevitably. And I want to say, yeah, 15 is probably good to start here. Now, how do we want to do... I know what we have right now is just a strong brow for the eye. But really, what I think we need is to make it look like it's an actual plate, like it's armored. His eye is armored too. So we would go like this and just have it connect to the actual skull. And then his, like the spot where his like pupil comes out here, you can actually see his eye. We didn't angle it quite enough. There we go. So we want to make him look like he's angry. This is how eagles, they have a strong brow ridge, like right here. And hawks and falcons and all those kind of raptors all have this really strong brow ridge. And it makes them look like they're angry, even if they're not. They just look intimidating. Okay, and again, we're not going to give him a snout horn. We'll give him these like strong, this strong like upper jaw, almost armor, I guess. Kind of like a shell. And then his tooth here, we're not going to go too big with it. And then smaller teeth. His nose in here. And then here's a spike, like a chin spike. This chin spike in here. Hold on. Gotta skip these ads. Keep listening to our peaceful music in the back. Gotta keep it copyright free. That way nothing gets flagged and nobody gets in trouble. Okay. And then we just said it's just like comes over here, gives another spike here. And then it comes around like it's actually built in, like it's part of the bone. The bone is coming out of his jaw. Yeah, the bone is coming out and it's a weapon. Okay, and then same thing with these guys. They can be ornate, I guess. I don't know. I said I didn't really want to make anything ornate on this guy. I wanted it to all be functional. Whatever was ornate would have been destroyed in previous wars, and it would have left only what was functional. So these top horns here, maybe they lasted. But this horn here, it's just part of a skull. Comes up. It's like a horn of a ram. It's just connected straight to, it's just a bone. It's part of his bone. It is a bone that grows. And I guess this guy is like pretty old, so it's probably been growing for a while. Could give one of them a crack. I think that's too extreme though. That there. Maybe we can even give him one like here. A little scar there too. Just a little one right there maybe. He's got scars. He's old. And he's been in a lot of fights. And he's come out on the other side. Which means the other guys didn't. And again, we don't want to make him look like he's like the undead dragon or something where he's got like all of these injuries. We can actually get rid of that. I think we made one more little injury here. Just get rid of it. Okay, and we'll connect that frill. Alright. Yeah, maybe up that to 17 now for the chest plate. And here. Okay, and we're going to keep, like, it's like layered armor. It's like it's stacked one layer on top of another all the way through the bottom. And this armor specifically protects the heart. And maybe the lungs, I guess. Imagine if a dragon gets stabbed in the lungs, he's probably not going to shake that off. Maybe, though. I don't know. I'm not familiar with dragon anatomy. All I can say is that if another animal gets, stabbed in the lungs, it's bad news. Generally speaking. We're going to make smaller down to 10 to give these scuffs. Make sure here. We're not going to keep this center line. Hopefully we've done a good job implying that it's there when we get rid of the blue layer. Let's see. That's not too bad. Big scuffs here. Make sure that we've got like, that way it kind of implies that it's not just from one fight. Like maybe it's been a few fights. Cut back up to 15. So we can get the back plates here. And we go just down here until the shoulder for the wing. And he almost looks like he's a water dragon now. We'll fix that on the coloring when we get to the colors and stuff. I think I'll do that probably outside the video, because I don't want this thing to go on forever, and I think we've pretty much gone, we're at 40 minutes now, so it's not too bad. Not too bad. I wish we had more time to color and stuff, but maybe next time we'll do a color video. You guys let me know what you want. If you want me to do a color video, or if you like these kind of concept things that we've been doing, we can keep doing that, or we can do other stuff. Open to whatever. I do have the patience to do whatever it is you guys want. You want me to shut up? I will too. I'll just put music on. You don't have to listen to me. You need to make that more intimidating, like spike, like stab, like you would stab somebody with that thing. Okay. Oop. Oh, there. This is the other wing over here. We make this one a little thinner line. And again, he got kind of tore up over here. I don't know if we need these scars here. Possible. Yeah, this dude just looks like he's taken way too much of a beating. I think what we're going to do is leave the scars out here off. We'll just go here. You give him some of these lines here that make it look like it's weathered, like he's old. Go here just to give him some creases, because he would have creases. And this is his leg. I don't know if that comes through. I'll do this. I don't know if that comes through as a leg. Maybe it's because it's a little too high. There. Maybe let's drop the blue and see. Yeah, I guess a little better. Looks a little better there. Okay. And then we can get... I'm just going to draw in a few of these scales. I mean, that way it's like, yeah, he's got scales there. And that way, because this is in my style. Obviously, I'm not going to try and draw like a photorealistic dragon. That's just beyond what I can do. But I can make it in my style. And I feel like this is close enough to my style that it just works out. Let's make sure here. I think that's going to be okay. I'm wondering now about the horns here. Maybe just not enough. Really give them that pointed edge. There we go. Yeah, maybe. I guess that's a little better. Alright, this dude looks like he's been through some shit. For sure. That's too much. Another little scuff there. But the rest of this, I think is fine. So maybe we move on to colors. Here, let's give him some flats. See what we can do. Now, he's a black dragon, as mentioned. So he's going to be dark. His hide is going to be dark. And I have that inconvenient everywhere I put it. Everything here is going to be dark, maybe except for the horns and the belly scales. Now, I don't know. I'm going to have to look up if they ever actually describe what his belly scales look like. But he is a black dragon, so everything is going to be dark, foreboding, and ominous. And go. That's too big. Well, what we would do, I'm going to set just a generic color here, and then I'll look it up later what color his horns are. What are we doing? Oh, because we're here. And maybe if the horns and the belly or something are all different colors, then... Or maybe even if it's just like black on black on black, we can do that too. Like this. I guess it's just kind of a boring color scheme, to be honest with you. It is a fantasy creature. It doesn't have to be based exclusively on real life biology stuff. So let's see. I mean, if I were to guess, if it were up to me, I would be giving this guy, you know, these kind of off-white, yellowy scales and teeth, and not that, that's a scar. Oops. Some yellow teeth. God, freaking. Come on now. There we go. And then his horns and his little claws or his little fingernails up here. This would all be this off-white yellow color. If it were up to me. It's not up to me. But if it were, that's what I would do. The whites of his eyes there. And then he's got, I was told, amber colored eyes, I believe. So like maybe something like that. And then all of these scars are just going to be like flesh tone, not his scale tones, but flesh tones under the scales, which is usually around here. I don't know why that didn't work. That thing's too small. It worked. Ooh, way too close. That didn't work. I'm gonna cover this up. Got some color leakage. Alright, and then for the frill here, let me just make that black too, I suppose. Or, see, I don't want to make it like, it's a little lighter black, maybe. Darker black? Too black. What about this color? No, that doesn't work well. I'll just leave it there for a minute. Let me figure out what's going on here. Make his teeth white, I guess. And all of his little horns here are going to be this off-white yellow color until I figure out what actual color this guy's stuff was. Those are the flats I would use if I were to color this dragon. Like if this were me saying that this is the dragon's design, this is what I would probably go with. But it's not me, and I'm sure there's a reason that he is, if he is all like ebony on ebony, I am sure there's a reason for that. But until then, this is what I would do, what I'd go with. And then the in the background, I guess we can do that. We might have enough time for that. In the background, we're at 50 minutes here, about 10 minutes. We would go like a gray. Let's go ahead and make a BG layer. And then just drop in like a, I don't know, a red gray or something in the back. Good work. There we go. And then what we would do is make some smoke. Now we can use Clip Studio's Cloud with a gray. That's too big. Like it's a war battlefield or something that low. That work? It's working. Like he's on the battlefield now. There's smoke trails and stuff. I think you gotta do it a couple times. Alright, and then we can make it darker. Easy on the darker though. And we would make it fire colors. So red. Easy on the red though. And easy on the orange. Yeah. Like the battlefield's on fire, so it's gonna be reflecting that fire here. We can make some yellow just to make it really show that this dude just he just blew up the battlefield, everything's on fire, and it is what it is. Some white. Okay. And then a little bit more black. Alright. What we can also do, I suppose, is add like a glow layer, maybe. Let me see how that looks first. What we would do is we would go around like this, or actually through the middle. It would be through the middle. Like a streak through the middle of each of these, and then add a glow to it so that it looks like it's actually reflecting light of the fire. And then we can go back to our background layer and really light up the kind of the reds and the yellows and the oranges and stuff. Some orange here, orange here. See how it kind of really makes it look like stuff is just burning? Behind him, we can go darker. It's kind of like dark here. I wonder if that would affect the light in the back. If we were to add black to that light layer, that doesn't do anything. So just kind of cover up that light a little bit. We don't want to mute it completely because the whole point was to give it a glow. So something like that. And then what we would do, since we're about out of time, is what I would do anyway, moving forward, what we will do for highlights is we would reflect the fire colors off of it, so we can add like an overlay layer, and then we just grab like an orange or a yellow, red even, and then we could go, you could airbrush it, or you can do, what I generally do is just I stick with the cell shadings. My whole history is animation. Cell shading is kind of what they like to do. So what I just do, maybe not red. Maybe we go orange. No. Yellow. No. Maybe we go red, but we don't go all red. We go a little brighter. Something like that. Give it like a rim light because that fire. Again, I'll look up what color this belly and stuff is supposed to be, and we can fix that if it's not supposed to be that off-white yellow color. And he's just gonna be like, there's fire in the background. He's obviously got that shining off of him. And then the shadows and stuff too, I always like to go multiply. We can even keep what we have. Yeah, actually, I want to maybe make it just like a little darker here. Just regular darker. Something like that. This is like a generic shadow versus like the red shadow that we had before. Up here or something. I guess we could do that. Yeah, I like the other one. And then we just kind of give it some depth. I mean, really, that's all we're doing. Giving it some depth. Alright, anyway, I'll get this figured out and finish getting it colored and everything, and I'll post it up on Instagram and X. And if you want to check out the final thing when it's finally done, at Thundering HZN. You can check me out on any of those. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you want me to do something in particular. Like, I can always take requests and stuff like that. Just let me know. Otherwise, thanks for sticking around and have a great day. See you later.